Hello and welcome back to Wireman's Whimsy. Today we are going to use the Potted Geraniums stamp set with one of the geranium dies to make this really beautiful card. The sentiment says, birthdays are reminders that life should be celebrated. I've also decorated it up with some bling with the Glossy Dots assortment. And I've used a piece of the Hues of Happiness Designer Series paper in behind. Now this stamp set is a two-step stamp set, so it does take a little bit of time to build the card. But if you do everything in steps, it's really quick and easy. So this is how I started. I hadn't used this set before, so I practiced a little bit with the stamps first just to see how things go. And I'm using this as my guide of which stamp to use and which value, whether I go first value or second value. So I'm just going to put that off to the side. I do have a piece of scrap paper that I can work on. So I've got a Mango Melody card base. I've got, as I said, the Designer Series paper from Hues of Happiness, cut 5 1/4 by 4. And then I've got a piece of basic white, 2 1/2 by 4 1/2 to put the geranium on. And then I used a scrap to do the greeting. So let's get started with building this card. I'm just going to put everything else off to the side for now because we are going to focus specifically on building the geranium. So I'll pull my example back in. I started with the pot. When I did this, I didn't size my paper first. I just put it all together. But because I've sized my piece of basic white to fit, I'm going to start from the bottom and work my way up. Now, there are 2 stamps for the flower pot. The one that has the full flower pot and one that has the accent. The full flower pot is going to be second value, but I stamp it first. So I ink it up, I stamp away, and I come in as second value, like that. Now, this is the detail on the pot, and I'm going to stamp it at first value. So I apologize in advance if I get my hair in the frame, because I'm just trying to line this up. There we go. And I am a little bit offset, so I am going to try this one more time. Paper has 2 sides, and as you all know, I use both sides fairly regularly. So we're going to stamp that second value down, and I'm just going to try and get just a little bit closer lined up on this one. So there we go. I am relatively close, so we are going to live with that one. It's not too bad. And again, I apologize for getting my hair in the frame. And I did the pot in Cajun Craze. Okay, so the dirt for the top of the pot, I did in Early Espresso. And I'm just going to pop that down like that. So there we go. We have dirt in the top of the pot. And then I did the leaves in Garden Green. And I did first value. There's again 2. There's the outline and the background. So the full value is in the outline, and I'm just going to pop it down so it looks like the stem is overlapping the dirt a little bit. And then it looks like it's coming out of the dirt. So that's first value in the outline. I'm going to do second value in the leaves themselves, but I'm going to make sure I'm fully inked up. And second value in the leaves. And again, this needs to line up and drop down. So there we go. There are the leaves. Again, the leaves are done in Garden Green. So we'll pop that off to the side. Now, the greeting, which I have already done here, and the geranium flowers themselves are done in melon mambo. Too many M's going on. There are, again, the 2 stamps. This is the background and this is the detail. The detail I'm going to do first in first value. And I'm just lining this up with the stem, pressing it down. Okay, now I'm going to come in with the flowers, and they go this way up at second value. And I'm just going to pretty much just make sure that I'm over the same shape. So there we go. So there's our two-tone flowers. So that is all the stamping. Again, it just takes a little bit of time, and it's easier to line things up if you can get right over it and look at it. One thing I would recommend too is I used my small stamps for the flower pots because I was out of other ones. It might be easier to line up if you have a stamp where you can actually see, or a block where you can actually see the edges of the stamp on it. It makes it much easier. Okay, so let's just move all of that out of the way. Move this one back in. And again, it's just flat mounting. There are actually, with the geranium dies, I'll show you the dies just before we finish up the video. And my Tuesday video will be on all the dies and how to use them. So I will show you all of those dies. You could dimensionalize this if you want to, or you can flat mount it, and I am just going to flat mount it. This is fairly straightforward. It's two-step stamping, but it's fairly straightforward, just basic stamping and some paper. And then you can use the dies to actually build flowers as well. Similar to the Hydrangea Haven set, you can build the geraniums with the dies as well. And there are dies to cut all of these elements out. So if you wanted to do like a couple in the background and then die cut some in the foreground, you could absolutely do that as well. So I'm just dimensionalizing this. Birthdays are reminders that life should be celebrated. Popping that down like that. And then I'm going to bring in my glossy dots, and I'm going to use the smallest of them and just use my tweezers just to lift that off. Pop one up over here, and then we'll put two more on like this. And this, we are at the end of my Paper Pumpkin week. It's been a fabulous, so much support this Paper Pumpkin session. So I do appreciate everybody with their comments and their support for that. But we are done with our basic potted geraniums with a geranium die to cut out the greeting card. And as I say, on Tuesday, I will do a video basically introducing all of the dies. So these are all of the dies. You can do a flower pot, and you can do the band on the flower pot. You can do the leaves. There's plant stakes. These are the ones you can do the flowers with. And then you can do some lacy flowers as well. So we will explore all of those on Tuesday. So feel free to join us again. I will post at 4 o'clock Mountain Standard Time on Tuesday. So thank you so much for watching, and we will create together again soon.